MMA started, it was considered a sport exclusive to the manliest of men. Tough guys and machos took center stage, and the idea of females even stepping foot in a cage wasn't given any thought. Over time, the sport evolved and the audience along with it. People became more open to the idea of women fighting in the cage. And although they started late, women's MMA has evolved rapidly, and now some of the best fighters in the world are female. Today, we'll look at some of the best women's knockouts of all time. Starting off the list is one of the greatest upsets in MMA history. The challenger, Holly Holm, came in as a massive underdog against the champion, Ronda Rousey. At the time, Ronda was considered the baddest woman on the planet, and no one even came close to defeating her. Anyone who made it out of the first round with Rousey was considered lucky. To say Holm battered Ronda would be an understatement. Holly's finesse on the feet was on full display that night in front of a crowd of 56,000 live attendees. Ronda barely made it out on the first round and was quickly finished in the second round by a stunning head kick. KO flipped the MMA world upside down, and the image of Ronda lying dazed and confused on the canvas is etched into everyone's minds for the rest of the time. A few years after the events of the first entry on this list, Holm found herself in a similar position. After losing her title to Miesha Tate, Holly earned herself another title shot against the champion Amanda Nunes. Amanda, like Ronda, was a force of nature as Nunes had hands of stone and smashed her way to the top of the women's pound-for-pound list. Once again, not many were expecting Holly to win. Was she able to recapture the same magic earlier against Ronda? The short answer is no. Not only did she lose, but she lost in the first round by, you guessed it, a stunning head kick. You could say whatever goes around comes around. Molly Meatball Mccann is undeniably one of the most beloved fighters on the UFC roster today. Her brash personality, aggressive fighting style, and friendship with rising superstar Pappy Pimblett attracted a wave of new fans. But what really put her on the map was her knockout against Luana Carolina. The first round was competitive as both women put up a decent fight. The second round was more or less the same. Carolina used her reach advantage to keep Molly at range, while Molly used her head movement and relentless pressure to get close to her opponent. The third round started and Carolina was visibly fading. Molly seemed to be on her way to winning a unanimous decision when out of nowhere she threw a spinning backfist from hell, knocking Carolina out cold. Weili Zhang vs. Joanna Jedrzejczyk is one of the greatest fights of all time, period. The fight was a back-and-forth war from start to finish, a true spectacle. As soon as the fifth round ended, fans demanded a rematch, and that's precisely what they got. Fans didn't know whether to expect another blood and guts war or a more technical fight. Regardless, no one could have predicted what happened. Weili pulled off a spinning backfist out of nowhere and left Joanna crashing into the canvas. Joanna announced her retirement in a post-fight interview, and Zhang earned herself another shot at strawweight gold. This isn't the first time, nor the last time, that Amanda Nunes appears on this list. The UFC thought it was a good idea to throw Ronda in a cage with the Lioness after her loss to Holm. Nunes put the final nail in Ronda's coffin and ended her career via a one-sided beating. Amanda demolished Rousey in the first round and humiliated the former champ, reminding everyone once again why she's the most violent female fighter in the UFC. Valentina Shevchenko passed her first title defense with flying colors. Standing in her way was a tough Jessica Eye. After several sickening kicks to the body, Valentina whipped out a kick that landed spot on Jessica's head. The sound of Valentina's shin bouncing off Jessica's dome will send chills down your spine. It took Valentina less than 2 rounds to banish Eye to the Shadow Realm. Jessica Andrade completely dismantled Karolina Kowalkiewicz in the first round. For as long as it lasted, the fight was a barn burner. Every punch was thrown with malicious intent, and it seemed inevitable that someone would get knocked out. Andrade knocked Karolina spark out with a picture-perfect right hook. Meng Bo made headlines after sending Balin on a one-way trip to outer space. The fight ended abruptly after Bo landed a brutal overhand right, leaving Balin too disoriented to continue. This fight is another reminder of the presence of the promotions outside of the UFC. If this list doesn't convince you that Amanda Nunes is the GOAT, then I don't know what will. After being underestimated throughout the build-up to her bout against the featherweight champ Chris Cyborg, Nunes' first punch visibly startled Cyborg and pushed Chris against the fence. After a flurry of punches, Cyborg was sent crashing into the canvas. Amanda made history that night by becoming the first female double champ in the UFC. Rose broke records after knocking Weili Zhang's lights out at UFC 261. Many expected the two to be in a back-and-forth war akin to Zhang's first fight with Joanna. which made the ending even more shocking. Rose landed a head kick that was heard all around the world and knocked Zhang right off her feet. Namajunas rushed to the ground to finish her opponent with ground and pound before being separated by the referee. That night, Rose became the first female two-time champ in UFC history. If you enjoyed this, make sure to let us know by leaving a like and subscribing to our channel. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.